It's really lovely to be hearing work from several of the Verve poets who I kind of only know on Twitter or have maybe seen at a distance in the past. And it's a real privilege to actually get to hear some people sharing their work. Kizzy, I was going to ask you what you think defines a Verve poet, or what you think all of us have in common who've done books with Verve. I didn't come up with an answer, I just thought I'd ask you.
Just greatness. It's just great. It's a good question. I think it's undefinable.
Yeah.
That sounds like a cool thing to say.
Every realization of its fresh narrative, Leviathan, flooder, becomer, tell me there is reasoning and rationing my breathing. Wreckage, churn the grave dirt. Tell me you still love me, I have a loathing of conspiracies in my insect wings. Flooder, I am building the body of an iceberg. Leviathan, I am building a shipwreck to carry us, becomer.
A poem is only a poem if it's a naked woman seeking lovers. A poem is only a poem if it's a many-breasted dragon, her breast covered with crimson damask and strewn with gay flowers. Irises, columbines, carnations. A poem is only a poem if it's a decadent diamond. It is not a poem if it doesn't wear a peacock skirt. It is not a poem if it does not display a silver tray of sex and the grotesque. A poem is not a poem if it doesn't destroy itself. A poem is only a poem if it's an ivory piece. A poem is not a poem if it doesn't tease with the memory of a grotesque dream or a charming nightmare.
Brace yourselves, because we're about to have Jemima Hughes.
If you tell me his name, I have to report him. His name is... Imagine scenarios. It's planning her escape route. It's staying light on her feet. His name is walking fast. It's blocking her path. It's lingering in back streets. His name is hair tucked in. It's crossing the road. It's taking a fake call. His name is pulling over, asking her for directions instead of the man ahead who's built and 6'2" tall. His name is following her around the store. It's brushing past, it's touching the small of her back. His name is staring at her. It's waiting for her, it's look at the rack on that. Thank you so much. I have a book with Verve, it'd be weird if I didn't, and I'll stood up here. It's called Unorthodox, and it is my autobiographical poetry collection, my story of some abuse that I went through when I was 16 years old, sexual violence, trauma and kidnapping, and consequently my mental breakdown I had 9 or 10 years on. But ultimately, this is a story of hope. So if you would like to read this part of my story, I'd be honoured to share it with you. So I'm going to share something brand new with you because I'm currently working on the second collection to follow on from this one. I write really ready and willingly about my negative sexual experiences in the hope that it raises some awareness about what is not acceptable and what it is to live with this kind of trauma. But more recently, I've given myself permission to write about a positive experience, and I'm hoping that it will still raise awareness, maybe from a different perspective, of what is acceptable and how we can be more understanding and make this world more comfortable for people who have been through this kind of trauma. So this piece is called Every Woman Who's Ever Been Abused Should Get to Spend the Night with You. Open brackets, to clarify, I don't want them to. Close brackets. It wasn't my finest title moment, but it does what it says on the tin, so I'm keeping it. Thank you for listening to me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. Every woman who's ever been abused should get to spend the night with you. To clarify, I don't want them to. For every man who took a step too close, you take a step back. Listen to my words of consent and let my body interact. Make sure it agrees with me because it works a little differently. You kiss my stretch marks as though they show how far I've stretched myself for people. Kiss the imprints of my bra because support shouldn't leave a dent to be healed. I don't hold my stomach in because I don't have to shrink myself to fit your ideal. I'm a whole 5 courses with a coffee and a mint, not just a main meal. Thank you so much for having me.
And cracking the 2 ribs that greeted the chiselled wood into the cavity of breath that was her body, my mother told me. There's some bones you just can't get at to bind. And carried on with her chores, although all the skin from her breast to her navel was blackened, as though she bore violent storm clouds under her breath. The last time her ribs ached like this, they guarded the whisper of my own heartbeat. How we forget what a clenched fist thump the shrug of a pulse can be. Thank you.
Katie was talking about like funny / embarrassing stories about books, so I'll tell you mine. I was performing at a poetry event and the host was really hyping me up, you know, saying, oh, Scarlett, we've done it. And this is my book, Ache. And the host said, yeah, welcome to the stage, Scarlett with her book, Acne.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce the person who I like to call Superstar. There must be a rare, I don't know, lull in worldwide poetry, because Amira tends to be obviously globe-trotting somewhere or other, you know, in very high demand. And I don't know what Stu managed to do to reel you back in, but here we are. Amira was the first book published by Verve. I remember our joint book launch, that was wild. And we stole those pens from Waterstones, do you remember? Anyway, so, sorry Stu. We're talking back. Amira, put your hands together.
You're too kind, but I'm shorter than that. Hi everyone.
Hi.
Are you okay? It's a lot of words today. My name's Amira Saleh. I'm going to unbutton this because I'm a bit sweaty and also my arms go like this when I perform. Do you mind me? You have an absolute beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you.
It's like an echo. And it made me think of a poem that I've never ever shared, but I wrote it a while ago. When your body has been touched, unexpected, uninvited, the little of self-love that was there jitters out of you with each touch. You fight, arm over face, legs holding doors open like mothers giving birth to stillborns. It hurts all over, but you continue. You fight. Because if this was what was written for you twice, God clearly wants you to survive. Your body surrenders, falls flat to the ground, stumbles downstairs, holding him out in between the front door. You want to break it like banging a door of an empty house, hoping memories will open. You fight, still, losing breath. Arms around your neck now, you surrender. Maybe home is already here and I haven't noticed. So I'll wait to hear voices from behind a screen whisper, Psst, Amira, come home. Do you remember the end of that poem? Do you remember? Casey actually helped me edit the end of that poem because I think I said scream instead of whisper. And Casey was like, you're saying psst, wouldn't whisper be better? And I was like, duh. So yeah, that final, no credit, but.
Thank you so much, Mira. Thank you so much to all of our readers and to all of you for being here. You've been a gorgeous audience. We should thank Stuart as well. Casey, did you remember to get the bouquet of flowers and the Jeroboam of champagne? It's a shame. But
He doesn't deserve it.
another time, Stuart.
Talking to Stuart about adjusting and thinking like you never know what's going to happen, and when things are new they often feel like they're not going to last very long, and you think like you always feel like you're chasing the next thing, but Verve has that real feeling of being established, and that is a testament not just to Stuart's work but the quality of the work that we've heard today and what you can get out there in the bookshop. So yeah, it feels powerful being here. It feels,
It does.
yeah, and appropriate as well.